What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Tyler from Ty Drives here, and this is the 2022 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Veloce. So in this video we're going to take you around this car, starting on the exterior. We'll pop the hood, see what it looks like under there, and discuss our powertrain options. We'll also make our way into the interior, starting with the trunk, moving forward to the rear seats, and forward again to the front seats. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video, because I'm going to put this GoPro on my head. We're going to take this car for a test drive. One thing I wanted to point out before we get started is a huge thanks to Veloce, Alfa Romeo, in Hartford, Connecticut, for allowing me to film this car. We're going to start off here with the headlights. So HID bulbs for both the high and low beams, but you get LED turn signals and daytime running lights. We also have headlight washers up front, if you see the little shape below the headlight. Pretty good sized air intakes from the side and towards the center. So the Veloce kind of adds an appearance package to this car, a really nice looking appearance package, and included is sort of this black triangular Alfa Romeo grille. Very nice shape to the hood. It kind of goes in towards the center, and that gives for a nice curved appearance on the fenders. 21-inch optional wheels here. Take a look at those things. All gloss black and wrapped in 255/40 tires. Pretty beefy Brembo brake calipers too for this car. Another thing that's part of the Veloce package is full body colored, so all of the trim around the wheels and down the side is body colored. Really a good looking SUV, and that's one thing that Alfa Romeo does well and makes a really good looking car. Blacked out mirror caps. As you can see, you have the blind spot warning, and there's also an LED turn signal indicator. Both the front door handles have the smart key entry, so you tap to lock, put your hand behind the handle to unlock. All gloss black around the windows, gloss black roof rails, gloss black shark fin antenna, and the panoramic sunroof up there. Pretty large spoiler too. What a wheel for this car. Really dresses this one up. Now taking a walk around back, full LED back here for the tail lamps. So your turn signals, tail lights, and brake lights, all LED powered. As you can see, this one is the Q4 all-wheel drive, and we have the badge right on the side. The parking sensors that span the rear bumper as well as the front bumper too. And black exhaust finishers with a black rear sort of diffuser. The Stelvio name and the Alfa Romeo badge in the center. So what do you guys think about this new Veloce trim level of the 2022 Stelvio? Let me know what you think in the comments. Alright, so popping the hood on the Stelvio. Now, the Stelvio and Giulia have always been quite the powerhouse as far as the 2-liter turbos go. And this one has it. This one has the 2-liter turbocharged inline 4. Good for 280 horsepower and 306 pound-feet of torque. So that's pretty good numbers for a 2-liter turbo. This engine will come standard with rear-wheel drive in the low trim levels, and then optional all-wheel drive, of course, with that lower trim levels, and then all-wheel drive across the board on the upper trims. 8-speed automatic comes with all engine options, and of course we have the Quadrifoglio, which has the crazy turbocharged V6, 505 horsepower, but that we'll save for a separate video. Take a look at the strut brace that goes across, and that really helps out in the handling department. Also take a look at how far back the engine is. That makes this a pretty balanced SUV. And the hood latch, as you can see, is right in the center. right, so let's take a look at the luggage area on the Stelvio. Of course, this car has the full power liftgate. Nice wide opening here to get larger things in the back, and a pretty flat loading area too. As you can see, there's a really good amount of space back here. They give you kind of a storage bucket to the side, and take a look at that. A household power outlet back here too. We have anchors to each corner. We also have some things to each side. So we have LED illumination on this side and the other side. We have a 12-volt power outlet, grocery bag hangers on both sides, and we also have this little pull tab. So when you pull that, the seats will fold at a 60-40 fashion, as you can see on the other side. But if you wanted the center 20, I guess you could fold it down like a 40-20-40. You just pull this little tether right here, and the center portion will fold down. Also, I have a nice couple of cargo shades, so one that pulls out from there and one that mounts up there. Underneath, we have a tire inflation kit. A couple of options to close the trunk. This one is to obviously close the trunk and lock the vehicle, and this one is to just close the trunk. Look, I'm gonna beep at you to make sure nobody's in the way, and it'll close on down. Next, we could check out the rear cabin. Materials back here are soft touch, leather, hard touch. We have a nice storage bin down here, a couple of speakers, window control, locks, and the door handle. Pretty nice aluminum mimicked trim back here too. Very nice seats back here. Take a look at this panel right here. It's all leather. Kind of helps you slide into the seat a little better. Perforations in the center with same color stitching. And an armrest back here that folds down with a couple of cup holders. And there's a slot in the center so that you could prop up a phone. So I am 5'10". I adjusted the front seat to a normal driving position for myself. Take a look at that. I'd say I have 2-3 inches of legroom back here. I have a couple of air vents too, pretty neatly styled. Just below that we have heated seat controllers and the ability to charge your phone via USB. There's a little storage pad underneath it. Relatively small drivetrain hump, so if you had to get a third passenger back here, it'd be no big deal. We have grab handles to the side. As you can see, the panoramic sunroof is pretty large. And we have illumination kind of like right next to your head if you're sitting, so that's pretty cool. Alrighty. Now let's take a look at the front of this vehicle. I should say the front of the interior. Same materials as out back. Just a few more buttons up here, really. A little bit of a bigger storage pocket. We have nice stitching on the armrest. We have the window lockout for the rear and your children, windows, and your power folding mirror controls. And you could also open the trunk with that button right there. 3-person memory for the driver's seat. You have your unlock and lock, of course. You have a nice air vent with your lighting controls and your fog lights as well. Parking sensors and auto start stop. You can turn those two on and off if you like. And a gauge dimmer. We have a pretty decently sized felt storage container. Hood release off to the right, and the nice metal pedals. take a look at these seats, part of the Veloce package. Sport bucket seats give you lots and lots of side support, both where your back and your bottom is. And you can also extend the thigh support right there, which is pretty cool. And of course, it's fully powered with your four-way lumbar, and you can also move in and out the side bolsters. Alright, so here's the key for the Stelvio. You have the unlock, lock, trunk release, remote start, and panic alarm with a little Alfa Romeo logo on the bottom, and another one on the back. Now there's a physical key on the inside. If you see this little rib pattern to either side, you kind of just pinch the key, it'll slide backwards, and there's a physical key on the inside in case you need it. And they give you a pretty cool spot to stick your key while you're driving. Of course, in traditional Alfa Romeo, or at least recent Alfa Romeo standard, have the start button on the steering wheel. Very attractive steering wheel on this car, especially within the last couple years. They did kind of an update to this car, which just kind of added some very nice touches to the vehicles. And the steering wheel is one of them. So very smooth leather. Where you grab it right up here, it's all perforated. Very, very comfortable in the wheel, or in the hand, I should say. Off to the right, you have all of your adaptive cruise control settings, so you get to the distance with that button there. Obviously, the engine start stop button. And then kind of over here is all of your media controls, so your Bluetooth telephone, voice commands, audio volume, and skipping for the tracks. Behind the steering wheel and mounted to the column are these very large paddle shifters, so pretty nice. And we have a couple of stalks to either side. So this one is turn signals, high beams, and at the end where my middle finger is, that is to turn on and off the lane keep assist. To the other side, we also have a couple of controls for both the front and rear wipers. And at the end, you have a menu switch for the screen, which brings me into the gauge cluster. Take a look at that. You know, a lot of manufacturers are switching towards the all digital gauges, but to me, I'm pretty old school, and I still like a good, nice, classy set of real analog gauges. Off to the left, or off to the left, we have the temperature gauge, tachometer. In the center, we have that screen, which we're going to control with that end button on the wiper stalk. And we also have to the right the speedometer and fuel gauge. So again, using this button at the end, we could cycle just a few menus in the center screen. We have various trip settings, sort of a fuel economy gauge, and then some driver's assistance. So if the lane keep assist is locked on, it'll kind of light up in there and show if you're bouncing off the lanes or not. And then we just have a sort of digital speedometer. So a couple of things that you could see in there, and then obviously at the top they have the lane keep display, and then auto high beams if that's on or off, and things like that. Upper dash has a pretty cool material to it, pretty cool texture. And here we have the infotainment screen on the Stelvio. So pretty neat. Pretty small screen, but that makes it very streamlined with the rest of the dash. So that's pretty cool. Now it is a touchscreen, but you can also control it with the rotary dial here. So that's pretty cool. So we have the radio screen here. As you can see, Sirius XM is hooked up. And you go over here to your source, and you have favorites or presets. Going back to home, we have our navigation screen, so built-in navigation for this car. And you can also hook up your phone with the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and get navigation that way. We have a phone screen, a driver's assistance screen, so that's kind of let you turn on and off or customize the different warning systems that this car has. So that's pretty neat. We also have a screen dedicated to the climate, so you can either control the climate through the screen or through the physical buttons down below. We have the zones on the side, fan speed on the bottom, and temperatures off to either side. We can also control the heated seats or steering wheel from the screen too. That's pretty neat. Performance pages, take a look at that. That's pretty cool. As you can see, it'll give you like a real-time boost pressure, performance content. That's pretty neat, kind of like the torque split for the all-wheel drive. Really pretty cool screen. I'm glad they kind of included that. That's kind of like, I would just leave it like this. You know, that's pretty cool. You have the oil pressure, boost gauge, and real-time torque. You have vehicle information, so when the car is due for service and things like that. And we also have some system settings, and I'll go quickly through them just so you can see what they are. So pretty nice screen, very simple, easy to get used to, and you could also swipe down right there and kind of add some presets for different options on the menu. So I really like this little screen. It's pretty intuitive. Not the biggest one in the world, but again, it really does help out the design of the interior on this car. A couple of air vents. In the center you have the four-way flashers. And down below we have the climate control, so dual zone, temperatures to either side, fan speed in the middle with the AC. The climate control never has to be more complicated than this one. So you also have the different zones where you want the air to blow as well, and that'll show up on the screen over there. We also have our front and rear defrosters, heated seats to either side, and heated steering wheel. USB and 12-volt connections. We also have the cup holders and a little slot for your phone. Down here we have an array of various things, very circular design with the volume knob, drive mode select, and all that good stuff. So we have the electronic parking brake and then the gear selector. So that's one of the things they updated a few years ago. This is just way nicer than when the Stelvios first came out in 2018. So it's just a nicer design. Put it down into drive. We can do neutral and reverse. As you can see, you have a reverse camera that pops up. A little bit on the grainy side, but it does the job, and it also has guidance lines. Putting it back into drive again, I forgot to show you, you can put it into manual mode, shift down here or on the paddle shifters, and then just press the P for park. Again, 8-speed ZF transmission. A little Italian flag right here, that's pretty cool. And we also have our drive mode select. So we have 3 different driving modes. We have the dynamic, natural, and advanced efficiency. So it gives you a pretty cool little visual up there once you change the driving modes. So that's pretty cool. Volume knob down here acts as a kind of a on and off for the radio as well. If you press it down, and then back and forth for skipping between the radio stations or tracks. We also have this pad down here that kind of acts like a controller for the screen. So as you can see, you turn the knob, and that's how you go through the menus, and then just press down to select. So pretty cool. Gives you the option of using the touchscreen or down here. So taking a look at the center console here, if we open it up, you can see it's pretty much felt lined inside. Got this little tray right here with the little logo. Wireless charging tray. So you just slide your phone right in there. Pretty cool, it'll charge right up. You have some connections in there, as you can see, USB, USB-C, and auxiliary. Nice soft armrest too to rest your arm. And a glove box. Sort of a bin style with the felt lining. Auto dimming rear view mirror. You can turn the auto dimming feature off if it's bothering you with that button right there. Up here on the center stack we have LED illumination. You also have some SOS controls and things like that, and 2 separate controls for the sun shade and sunroof. Completely black headliner too, so if we open up the sunshade, pretty nice big panoramic roof for this car. It'll stop sort of at the first pane of glass, and you can press the button again to open it up towards the rear pane. And there's two separate buttons to slide and to tilt the sunroof, so that's pretty cool. A couple other things worth mentioning is you have the garage door home links on the visor. Once you fold it down, you have some card holders and some mirror and illumination, and also a grab handle. That pretty much does it for the features on this vehicle. Let's get this thing out on the road. All right, so driving the Stelvio, and test out the turning circle here. Pretty good turning circle for this car. Now, on this drive, we're gonna take it through this, just a little bit of the city works here, and then we'll get it out into a small back road. Not a crazy long, like 10-minute test drive that I'm used to doing, since we're in a little bit of a different setting. We're actually in Hartford, which is the capital, so lots of city roads around here. But we'll get a good feel for the car while we're out on the road. So big 21-inch wheels on this car. I'm interested to see how it rides with these big wheels. And immediately going over some bumps, it's pretty comfy still. Now I have it set in the natural mode, which is kind of the mode you'll be using it every day. Immediately the seats are very comfortable. Plenty of side support. So much side support, actually. You feel like you're not going to be moving around at all in the corners. Another thing I mentioned before, but I'll say it again, if you hold your steering wheel like this, it's extremely comfy. Really awesome ratio to the steering wheel too. It's got a good steering wheel feel to it, so steering feel is pretty good. If we put it into dynamic, you can see it changes up the gears already for us, and the steering wheel tightens up just a bit, so that's pretty cool. It holds gears a little bit longer. Now once we get down to this light, we're going to make a left, and we'll text out the acceleration. So normally what I do is we'll get it up to 25, and we'll see how fast we can get it to 60 from there. So we're going to try that out. Alright, so we'll put it back into dynamic mode, get it up to 25, and see what we could do. Yeah, so this 2-liter is quite the powerhouse. Really pretty quick. You know, that's enough to put a smile on your face. Now this car also has, as a part of the Veloce package, it has the limited slip rear differential, so that's pretty cool as well. So, you know, just a short drive for you guys so we get a feel for it. Really good steering ratio, really good steering feel and everything, and plenty of power from this 2-liter. So yeah, that pretty much does it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Just a little bit of a shorter test drive this time because I'm not at my home base, but definitely got a good feel for this car, and the things that I really do like about this thing is the steering ratio and feel. It's got plenty of power, and it has a pretty good amount of features for the price. So I think this is right around $55,000 for the Veloce. So really awesome car, and again, big thanks to Valenti Alfa Romeo in Hartford, Connecticut for making this video possible. And make sure to subscribe, like this video, do whatever you have to do to keep me on the road.